ولا نعت ممدود ولا وقت معدود ولا أجل ممدود. فضل الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته وودد بالسحور ميدان أرضه. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا الممجد بشيرنا المصدق نذيرنا المؤيد المصطفى الأمجد محمود الأحمد الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين قال عنهم الرسول اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحرمتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله
واللعنة دائما وعلى أعدائهم ومبغضيهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكر فضائلهم ومناقبهم من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى لقاء يوم الدين. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Besides being the regular Thursday program, we are also today commemorating the Shahadat of our sixth Imam, Imam Jaffar, sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Sixth in the line of Imamat, eighth in the line of Isma, born in Medina al-Munawwara on the 17th Rabi'ul Awwal, 8 years after the migration of the Holy Prophet of Islam from Makkah to Medina. He died on 15th or 25th of Shawwal, 148 years after the migration of the Holy Prophet. 148 Hijrah is when he passed away. Was poisoned and died through poison like his father and his grandfather. Of course, the son of the fifth Imam, the grandson of the fourth Imam, going back to Imam Hussein and then back to Amir al-Mu'mineen. His wife, his mother was Farwa. Farwa was a daughter of Qasim. Qasim was the son of Muhammad bin Abi Bakr. Muhammad bin Abi Bakr was a son raised by Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. So going back to Imam Ali alayhi salam, the granddaughter of Muhammad bin Abi Bakr was married to the sixth Imam alayhi salam, married to the fifth Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Her name was Farwa, and Imam alayhi salam, due to the differences in birth, date of birth, was either 63 or 66 years old, because one riwayat says he was born 80 years after the migration of the Holy Prophet. One says he was born 83 years after Hijrah. So he was either 66 or 63 years old, and his period of imamat was 34 or 35 years in total. So he's our sixth Imam, Imam Musa ibn Jaffar, Imam Jaffar sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Our identity in the world today, from the theological perspective, is the Shia of Ali. We are known as the Shia of Ali. But then this particular identity of the Shia of Ali there is another identity of the Shia of Ali due to the school of jurisprudence, which was expounded upon and expanded by the sixth Imam alayhi salatu wasalam in particular, as well as the fifth Imam. And therefore today in the world, if you hear of the word Jaffari, it means the Shia Ithna Ashari. When they say Jaffari, it means the Shia Ithna Ashari. Or when it means the Shia of Ali, it also means the Jaffari. So he became the identity, or his name became the identity of the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. His birth coincided with a few historical and political events noteworthy for us to understand as to what were the circumstances, what was the political situation at that particular time, and what are the historical backgrounds to the birth of Imam alayhi salam. It is commonly held, known by all the historians, that the period of the Imamat of the sixth Imam in particular, and the movement of the sixth Imams increasing the knowledge of the Holy Prophet of Islam and spreading it and opening it up from the fifth Imam to the sixth Imam was at the time when the Banu Umayyah and the Banu Abbas were in the battle of power struggle. So this was the political situation. The Banu Umayyah were phasing out, the Banu Abbas was struggling to take that particular power, and they were trying to eliminate the Banu Umayyah. So it was at that time that the sixth Imam alayhi salam is born, grows up, and lives under the shadow of his father, and also during the time of Banu Umayyah when they established themselves, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is still there. It was a time when the Shias were being persecuted and killed, and particularly from the hands of Banu Umayyah and then later Banu Abbas, the members of the Ahlul Bayt were being killed. The famous personality amongst them was Zayd bin Ali, the son of the fourth Imam alayhi salam, who was killed, and Yahya ibn Zayd, the son of Zayd, who was also killed, brutally massacred. They both rose and tried to replicate the revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, some, according to some historians, against the advice of the sixth Imam alayhi salam. The movement of the Banu Abbas to come to power, it was the Banu Abbas were pretending to support the revolution of Imam Hussein so that they could win the votes of those who sympathized with the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So they pretended that they were supporting the cause of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They came on the side of the Ahlul Bayt. They protected the interests of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They tried to pull in the sixth Imam into this political movement, but Imam refrained from entering any politics at that time, for it was inappropriate as well as not a right time for Imam to hold on to any particular position at the time, because he knew that there was more to do as far as the spreading of the message of Rasulullah was concerned than to take any political position. The time in which Imam was, there was a neglect and total disregard for Islam. The principles of Islam were being violated, the teachings of Islam were being violated, and Islam as a whole was extremely weakened, and therefore there was a need of trying to bring the intellectual awakening amongst the people of that particular time. It was at this time that Imam Jaffar sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad,
is born, grows up, as well as takes over the position of Imamah and the responsibility of Imam. After the fifth Imam, he takes over the established school or the university in Medina al-Munawwara, in Masjidul Nabawi, where Imam alayhi salam started to teach and give out the true message of Ahlul Bayt to the people. it was the first time, if we go back into history, that you will notice that Imam alayhi salam gets the best possible opportunity after the Holy Prophet of Islam. Imam Ali alayhi salam remained away from Khilafat Zahiri, which means the open Khilafat. He remained away from it due to political reasons. When he took over, the situation of the Muslim Ummah was such that he needed to again revive and bring some sense of awakening amongst the people. So after the Holy Prophet of Islam, Amirul Mu'mineen did whatever he could and tried to spread it. By the time of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein and the fourth Imam alayhi salam, it was extremely difficult for them to carry on what Amirul Mu'mineen had left behind due to political reasons, due to the persecution of the members of the Ahlul Bayt, due to the hostility against the Ahlul Bayt. But because of this power struggle between Banu Umayyah and Banu Abbas, the fifth Imam and the sixth Imam took this position. Here, Imam alayhi salam realizes his responsibility as an Imam is to now bring into the open, the true teachings which were violated by Muawiyah, which were violated by Yazid, which were violated by other leaders, and were not giving the full picture of Islam. It was now the opportunity that he got which needed to come up. So Imam started to bring these teachings. Now we hear that there were 4,000 plus students that were studying under the wings of Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. This is not just a number. I want to expound on it a bit. That this was not just a number. 4,000 plus is not a number. So 4,000 plus people used to come. But there was a success of the sixth Imam. A success that no other Imam had before or after him, other than Imam Ali and the Holy Prophet of Islam. Nobody got the success that the sixth Imam got. Although the fifth Imam starts this school, but the success and the impact upon the Muslim Ummah that the sixth Imam had did not, or was not something that every Imam was able to get. Why and what was his success? And then inshallah we move forward. The 4,000 is not just a number. By the way, one other fact of history is that at the time of the sixth Imam, Shias even then were in minority. The Shia of Ahlul Bayt even then were in minority. And the majority was the mainstream Muslim Ummah that we understand or know them to be the mainstream Muslim Ummah. At the time of the sixth Imam, they were in minority. So these 4,000 students were not Shias only, or those people who followed the school of Ahlul Bayt only. In fact, it was not Muslims only. It was beyond Islam. It was people from all walks of life. Those who agreed with Islam, those who disagreed with Islam, those who came for intellectual stimulation, those who tried to understand what Imam alayhi salam was doing, those who came to air their views. And the success of the sixth Imam was that he allowed free thought. He allowed these people to express themselves. He critiqued them. He spoke to them. He agreed with them. He disagreed with them in a particular beautiful manner that attracted people towards him. To have 4,000 students, when I say 4,000, it is not sitting in one gathering. I say 4,000 students who have gone under the wings of the fourth Imam. Even amongst them, Imam is aware that the school of jurisprudence founded by him, or founded by the Holy Prophet of Islam, but expounded by him and established by him in his time, is the school of Jaffari fiqh. In Jaffari, the Sharia that we have, the Jaffari school of thought. In terms of jurisprudence, But there were two other individuals, significant and people of high repute, who were founders of the school, having another school of jurisprudence, having studied under the sixth Imam alayhi salam. One is a Maliki school of thought, or Maliki school of jurisprudence, studied the student of, or the teacher, or the founder of Maliki school of thought is someone who studied under the sixth Imam alayhi salam. The Hanafi school, which is a major school of the Sunni fiqh today, even the founder, Imam Abu Hanifa, known famously as Imam Abu Hanifa, his name is Nu'man bin Thabit. He actually mentions these words, لَوْلَا السَّنَتَانِ لَهَلَكَ النُّعْمَانِ. Had it not been for 2 years under the wings of the sixth Imam, I would have been finished. He went to establish a school of jurisprudence known as the Hanafi school today, which is in majority people who are following even the Salafist school of thought. If you look at the jurisprudence, it is that of Imam Abu Hanifa. Ibn Taymiyyah is a later development, but it is Imam Abu Hanifa. So you will notice that Imam, knowing that these people may be or are going to establish another school of fiqh other than what he is teaching, allowed these people to express their views. He critiqued them, he openly spoke to them, he explained to them, he agreed with them, he disagreed with them. But what was most attractive about Imam ﷺ was that he allowed freedom of thought and freedom of speech, and then entered debates with them to correct them. And that was what was the most attractive thing about Imam Jaffar sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
It was the idea of freedom of thought, the idea of freedom of speech, the idea of expressing oneself and one's thoughts openly without having to worry, was what brought people from all walks of life to come and speak to the sixth Imam alayhi salam. Greek philosophy, or any philosophy that you may think. People of the academia, if you like, if we call that, we use that word for that particular time, was very much attracted to the sixth Imam only because he allowed these discussions to take place. It was a time when religious scholars avoided secular subjects in their discussions. Now this is the time of the sixth Imam. And prior to the sixth Imam, the scholars who were known as religious scholars, they avoided any secular subjects within religion. And Imam Jaffar as-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi
Allahumma ala Muhammad.
Formulated a tradition and established a particular doctrine by blending science and Islam together. He allowed discussions of scientific discussions in the scientific area, and he allowed and expressed the view of Sharia and the views of Islam in relation to that, and blended the two together. It was that which was bringing people together to the sixth Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. He encouraged scientists to and men of learning. He encouraged them to engage in free discussion. He encouraged them and brought about before them, he took out from them that which they wanted to say, and then he sat with them, he debated with them, he told them this is correct and this is not correct. And that is how he was able to influence 4,000 plus students of his time. And that is one of the greatest successes of the sixth Imam, Imam Jaffar as-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Even poets, the shairi was one of the things that was quite prevalent at that time. So Imam in his time started rewarding the poets. So anyone who wrote poetry poetry, Imam actually rewarded them the poets. But more than encouraging them through awarding and rewarding them and giving them the incentives of the reward, more importantly, Imam allowed them the freedom to choose their own subjects and deliver their own poems, and then Imam either corrected them, agreed or disagreed with them, or made his critique against them. It was that which brought all the scholars to Imam alayhi salam. So it was his character on how he spoke to them, how he engaged with them, how he presented himself to them, that they found extremely wonderful. And another thing about Imam was that he did all this in the most civil manner and trained people to mutual respect, even if you do not agree with me. So Imam alayhi salam, we have, for example, how he spoke to the people at that particular time. And then I want to quickly speak about how we can take a lesson from this, from the life of the sixth Imam alayhi salam. In Quran there is a verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salatu salam to go to Fir'aun and speak to Fir'aun and tell Fir'aun that he is wrong. And tell Fir'aun that for him to claim that he is God is unacceptable, and that he is committing a sin, and that he is challenging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that he does not have the ability to do so. Whatever. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who sent Musa and Harun alayhi salatu wasalam to Fir'aun. But listen to what Allah says to Musa and Harun. This is a man who violates everything about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does not believe. In fact, he says, Ana rabbukumul a'la. I am your Lord. I am your highest Lord. But when Allah sends Musa and Harun to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقُولَ لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. When you speak to him in a kind and polite manner. When you explain to him in a kind and a polite manner. This is exactly what the sixth Imam alayhi salam is doing in his life. As far as differences are concerned, they are necessary. Disagreements are necessary in intellectual circles for the progress of the human mind, of the humankind. It is necessary to disagree. It is necessary to challenge. Because if you and I are not challenged, or we don't challenge each other, then we are not going to move any further from the thoughts that we have. When it comes to religions, for example, we have interfaith. We have interfaith programs that we take part in. We discuss with people. We talk to them and explain to them what Islam is all about. School visits, people come and talk about what Islam is and learn about what Islam is. Our expression of the Holy Prophet of Islam and how we talk about the Holy Prophet of Islam to them, all these things is good in a manner that we must speak. But the Holy Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
if you see in history, in Medina al-Munawwara he has Jews. In Makkah he has the Quraysh. He has the people who are idol worshippers. How he speaks to them, how he talks to them, how he attracts them towards him, and how he makes his message so appealing to the people is what the sixth Imam did. When it came to interfaith, that's what I'm trying to explain, is that it was not only the Muslims who were sitting with him. It was not only those who agreed with his thought process that were sitting with him, but all the people from all walks of life sat with Imam alayhi salam. So let me not go into interfaith program. There is another program known as intrafaith program, which is a Muslim to Muslim, our own issues, where we must try to understand each other. The state of the Muslim Ummah today, as you and I see, is one of the very sad situations in the world. The Muslim Ummah today validates the killing of another human being through Quran. The Muslim Ummah has stooped so low that they are able to accept and tolerate or love an animal, but they can cut a head of a human being and place it in front of the television to show that this is what Islam is. Then there is theological problems in which we have huge differences. We have the difference of khilafah, we have the difference of imamat, we have all these issues that are out there. Intra-faith programs are almost zero as far as intra-faith programs are concerned. Interfaith is huge out there, both in Shia as well as the Muslim world. But the intra-faith programs are hardly there, or they are zero today. Each one is expressing his view, his opinion in relation to this. We are now killing each other. Let us look at what Imam Jaffar sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi
Mohamed wa Ali.
is saying to us as to how we should be dealing with this situation and what is a Muslim and the right of a Muslim. Now that is why sometimes you will hear from the pulpit, if the world knew what the Ahlul Bayt were, and if the world understood the messages of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, there would be none who would be the enemy of the Ahlul Bayt. This is what the sixth Imam alayhi salam says. And then we can discuss this further at some other time. Imam says, there was a companion by the name of Mohamed bin Muslim. He says there was a man who came he was from the people of the mountain. That means he was living in the mountains and he came to see the sixth Imam alayhi salam. كان رجل من أهل الجبل. He came to meet Imam alayhi salam. فقال له, and he said to Imam, عند الوداع, as he was departing, as he was saying Khudafis to Imam alayhi salam, he says to Imam, Usini, please give me some advice before I go. Give me some jewels that I can cherish before I go. Give me whatever advice you can. It was from the people of the mountain. So Imam says to him, Usika bitaqwallah. The first thing I am advising you is to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Right? This is something that you must do at all times. Now let's listen to the advice of him. وَبِرِّ أَخِيكَ الْمُسْلِمِ. And my advice to you is to be kind to your Muslim brother, not mu'min. Because Muslim is a global Muslim ummah. It is a global Muslim ummah. And I want you to be kind. It is my advice that you be kind, أخيك المسلم, towards your Muslim brother. And love for him ما تحب لنفسك, what you love for yourself. Love for another Muslim what you love for yourself. واكره له ما تكره لنفسك, ما تكره لنفسك. And dislike for him what you dislike for yourself. Just listen to these words. Close your eyes and think about the Muslim world with which you and I disagree, and our sentiments towards them, and our feelings towards them, and our emotions towards how these things are happening. Imam saying, as far as you are concerned, as a follower of the sixth Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, love for them what you love for yourself. Love or hate for them what you hate for yourself. Then listen, Imam does not stop here. He says, وَإِن سَأَلَكَ فَأَعْطِيهِ. And if they ask anything from you, give it to them. وَإِن كُفَّ عَنْكَ فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُ. And if he is shy and does not ask anything, then you extend to him what you should give to him. This is Imam saying, if they express shyness
and they do not ask for something because they are shy, then you be big enough, generous enough as my follower to extend your hand. And then he says, remember, فَإِنَّهُ مِنْكَ وَأَنْتَ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْكَ وَأَنْتَ مِنْهُ, because you are from him and he is from you. Probably based on this, the recent advice from Sayyid Sistani, if you remember, was that the Ahlus Sunnah are not your brothers. They are your own selves. They are your souls. This is probably inspired by what Imam Jaffar sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I will leave the rest of it for now. But I just want to share one final hadith of the sixth Imam to end this. Imam says, and there is an interfaith, then there is intrafaith, then there is intercommunal also within the community etiquettes also, and the rights of each other which Imam speaks about. And then you will realize that if these principles were followed by us at any single time, and each one of us followed these principles, Islam would not be what we see out there today. As a non-Muslim, yes, there is Islamophobia. Yes, people are trying to give a horrible picture of Islam to the world. True. On one side, the media is playing its role, true. But if Muslims understood that one of the things that won the hearts, or the main fundamental thing that won the hearts of everyone during the time of the Holy Prophet of Islam was his noble character. And if we are able to use that particular tool within us to display our noble character before people, whether we say we are Muslims or not, they will get attracted towards that character. And that's what the Holy Prophet of Islam did. So listen to what Imam says. Ma'shar al-Shia, ya ma'shar al-Shia, O the assembly of the Shia, Kunu lana zayna. Now this is Imam talking to you and I. Be for us an adornment. وَلَا تَكُونُوا عَلَيْنَا شَيْنًا, and do not be a disgrace to us. Imam says, be an adornment, be someone who truly represents us. وَلَا تَكُونُوا عَلَيْنَا شَيْنًا, and do not be a disgrace for us. And then he says, and how can you do that? Do you know how to achieve that? How do you achieve not being disgraceful to, or not being someone who is a disgrace to us? How will you achieve that? Extremely simple. قُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, speak politely with people. Talk nicely with people. وَاحْفَظُوا أَلْسِنَتَكُمْ, protect your tongues from things which should not be spoken. وَكُفُّوا عَنِ الْفُصُولِ, and don't do mindless chatter. You don't just talk about anything. Open your tongue only when it is necessary to open. وَقَبِيحَ الْقَوْلِ, and do not use offensive speech. Just these simple principles, and you will see that you will reflect our noble character before the people. They will find you attractive, and that is what the Holy Prophet of Islam says in one of his famous hadith. He says, كُونُوا دُعَاةَ النَّاسِ بِأَعْمَالِكُمْ, call people towards you with your actions. وَلَا بِأَلْسِنَتِكُمْ, not with your tongues. Be truly people who reflect the true and noble characteristics of the Holy Prophet of Islam. People will be attracted towards you. So if we want to talk about intercommunal issues, or we want to talk about intra-faith issues, or interfaith issues, you will see that the principles that are given to us by the sixth Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, on every level, from speaking ordinarily to talking about the most intellectual and scholarly disagreements, there are etiquettes that Imam alayhi salatu wasalam has given us and has displayed before us in his university in Medina. Imam was very popular. One of the things during the time of Imam alayhi salam, or at the time of his death, was the fact that unlike other imams, and due to the popularity of the sixth imam, the funeral was attended so well by the people of Medina. And not only the Shias were doing martyrdom of the sixth imam, but the people who studied under him were weeping, wailing, and crying for the sixth imam. Same thing, what they did to his father Imam al-Baqir, and what they did to Imam Zayn al-Abidin, is what they did to the sixth imam. They gave him, or they poisoned him. Why? Despite the popularity, now the power of Banu Abbas was achieved. Now the authority was there. The popularity of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam was such that one word would sway people away from one direction to the other. So now it was dangerous for the position of the rulers of the Banu Abbas of that particular time to allow the sixth imam's popularity to increase. And therefore, they poisoned the sixth imam alayhi salatu wasalam. They wanted to get rid of him. And they did. Imam was given poison. And Imam alayhi salatu wasalam died through this poison. Our seventh imam took the responsibility of the funeral of the sixth imam alayhi salam. And this funeral was so well attended by the people. And as I said, not only the Shias and the lovers of or the followers of the sixth imam and the Ahlul Bayt were there in the funeral, but people from outside as well were there in the funeral. But the seventh imam alayhi salam went to bury him. It was the wasiyat of the sixth imam that he wanted to be buried between Imam Hassan and his grandmother Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And that was his wasiyat. So he says towards the end of his life, he told Imam Musa ibn Jaffar that I want to be buried in between my grandmother, Janab Zahra, and Imam al-Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam. Please bury me in between the two of them. The seventh Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, after finishing the rites of the funeral and the ghusl and the kafan, Imam was brought to Jannatul Baqi. And in Jannatul Baqi, he was buried between Hazrat Zahra and Imam al-Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam. At the time when the body was being buried, it is said in the books of history that Imam Musa ibn Jaffar suddenly stopped and left his father alone and the body of his father alone, and then turned towards the grave of Hazrat Zahra and said, "Oh grandmother, I have lost my father today. Oh grandmother, I have lost my father today. I am burying my father next to you. Perhaps at that particular time there was a voice that came, oh Musa ibn Jaffar, this is my son Jaffar as-Sadiq. Leave him alone with me until the day."
Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein.